Hey everyone, it's Char's Fascination, and we are back with part 2 of bodice for a dress. Now, side paneling. I have gone ahead and sewn lace to this, obviously, or it would be see-through. And I've already sewn one side on. This is the inside. This is the outside. I want you to be able to see how nice that is. Isn't that nice? That's nice. That and the hemlines again. When you make a garment like this, like I said, this is my little iron right here. This little iron. This is a really good iron. You can get these at Walmart for like anywhere from $10 to $12. That's not bad for a little iron that heats up really good. And like I said, when this also has steam. So when you're doing a garment like this, like I was saying yesterday, when you go to press this, lay a nice piece of cotton over it and then put it on a nice, I'm going to say something for a delicate, because this is very delicate, and iron it. Have I ironed it yet? No. But, like I said, the seams right here are very important when you're doing this. And when I sewed the panel piece, I used the straight stitch. Using the straight stitch with this is very, very important because yes, it looks like this snail all curled on the edge and everything, but when we get it pinned down on here, and I'm thinking about like maybe trim the collar up with a little bit of lace, the same lace that I have on the paneling and that will be on the skirt, because I have over here some more of the lace. I can just cut this and put it around the collar and around the armholes if I feel like I want to do that, or I can turn a piece of this into a lace cap sleeve, which would also be cute with this. Now, I also do happen to have this extra piece here in case, again, let's say I want to do a cap sleeve. I have this in order to put that together, cut it how I want to make like a cute cap sleeve, kind of like draped a bit. I know that's not totally covered, but a nice cap sleeve to go onto this. So let's get into attaching the side panel like I did here. Now, what I did here for holding this together is I went back to my serger stitch, which when we do this and we sew this with the straight and then we sew it on with the serger, we're not going to have to worry about the gapping. We're not going to have to worry about any of that. So let's get this on here, and we want it this way. So when we go to pin it on, take it to one side, realize this should be your upper side, because what I did is I tacked that back like that on there, and then this will be at the bottom because it's kind of just like that. And we want it to be that way because that just shows, like top and bottom while you're attaching this to your bodice. Am I worried about this little extra right here? No, not really. This is all going to be on the inside, and make sure that when you pin it, that it fits the full length from top to bottom like this does fit top to bottom. Have your handy dandy sewing pins. Remember, there's a difference between a sewing pin and a sewing needle. The pin is what you pin things together with, and the needle is what you sew with. A lot of people, like, every once in a while I used to say sewing needle for these, and these aren't needles. So, like, I had to correct myself with that, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, pronunciation for something, you know, like, let's say you go to buy something and you say, oh, well, where's your sewing needles? Oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the needles that hold it together. Well, there's a difference between, because this is the thing that pins it, and I used to make my pins go this way, the long way. And, you know, for like the darndest thing, and then I remember like the elders that taught me to sew would always put their sewing pin the way I do it now. So I don't know what that was like when I switched up the way that I had started putting in my sewing pins. I change it back to the old way. So we want to do these on here one at a time, you know, the panel attachment, one area at a time when we're doing this. And that's actually very, very important when you're doing this. That way you don't get stuck by a bunch of needles. You know, pin. You don't get stuck by pins. So we are just going to take this on over here to the machine. Over here. I have you guys at a little bit of a different angle today. Have you a little closer to everything, which is going to be great. Now, I may update this camera for a camera, I'm not sure, this year, for one that I can actually pause while filming. It's a bit weird, but you know. So, because I don't know if my laptop that I'm using for this will allow me to just edit that. I will test that later though. So we're just going to bring this over here to the machine like we did yesterday. Get you in on a good angle with that, because you know, gotta be triangular. No, we don't have to be triangular. We just need to get this on a good angle for putting this under here. And now what I'm gonna do, because we're doing it from this side first, let me move that, and we'll put our sewing pins over on the side of the machine for a purpose. We're doing that on purpose. I was watching Xena Warrior Princess Season 1 on Tubi. If you haven't watched Tubi and you like really good, like the older shows, go check that out. This is not a paid sponsorship for that, but I like watching Xena Warrior Princess. Really don't like Xena, I don't know what's wrong with you. Oh, yes, and before I do that, I need to switch this back to my serger setting. Put that over here towards the end. Let's take out that first pin. Put down gently. Remember to always do that gently, because you don't want to damage your investment. Now with materials like this, always make sure you run your machine a little more gentle than you normally would. If you're in a quick sewing fix, let's say a 1 hour dress, then you can always like go a little quicker. But in this case, we're not doing that because of the materials. You can always catch and rip, and then if you don't have enough to replace, then you're screwed. I'm just going to be brutally honest. You will be screwed. So. And also remember, when I can do this a little quicker than some, but I still like to try to be careful, because when you're sewing with these and maybe you didn't get it even enough when you were pinning it, then it won't catch. And for my lovely new viewer, I like new viewers. For some reason, YouTube keeps I should say just taking away my subscribers. Like, if you don't take these numbers, you work hard for that. Unless you're one of those people that paid for them. Now, a lot of us YouTube creators here on the platform, we work our utas off for the amount of people that we have on our channel viewing what we do. Now, this channel is basically educational, and sometimes the occasional chit-chat or chit-chatting while I'm teaching. There's nothing wrong with that, because when I'm chatting with you, it's basically about something that you need to know. Now, again, that hemline, it's really nice, and this is when we go ahead. It's where we go ahead, take it, and pin it to the other side. Now, the reason that I like teaching is because I like to teach. It's just a thing. Some people like to teach, some people like to learn. I love to learn. One thing I believe in is you can never learn enough. So there's all sorts of knowledges out there for people to learn, and you're never too old to learn new things. It's like an old dog learning new tricks. Except for if you're an old dog. I don't know. Kind of funny. Anyway, pin this together just like we did the other side. Pin it on the other side. Sometimes I'll say something and then there's a song that goes with that. You know, like See You on the Other Side by Ozzy Osbourne. Some of his music that he has now is actually some of the music that he did while he was with Black Sabbath back in the day. Yeah. Apparently now he has a new show with his son Jack, and it's paranormal. So, like I said, as you're doing this, you will not have to worry about this part here. This will be in. And now I already tried this on just to see how well the other panel was with this. And still, we're just doing the bodice today because that skirt portion that I'm doing for the dress, that, my friends, I have to tack down so much lace to the fabrics before I can literally sew it together. So that by itself, that's going to take some time. And that's why we're just doing the bodice portion in this today. We may actually finish this bodice today. Who knows? Shadows. Oh, you know, like on Tubi, you can watch the old TV series, that old soap opera, Dark Shadows. I don't know what it is about that one. I kind of like that. It's old, it's kind of stupid, but for some reason, I like it. Maybe it's the vampiric part. Now, if you don't feel like you've got this the way you want it, because I don't really feel that I have this in the proper length. So, we will bring you back out here. And then what we will do, sorry about that, I'm trying to cover the noise in the background, and just repin it. And that's another thing about sewing is sometimes when you go to pin, so this is still part of that how-to for this. Drop the pin. Not trying to pin myself. So when you go to repin this, I feel like that's gone an odd way. Now remember, one side of your bodice piece is a little longer than the other, and there. Because later on we're going to roll these back for the armholes and stitch that down, which was the other thought of maybe adding a little bit of that lace in around there as embellishment, because it might be really cute. We don't know yet, but it might be really cute. Because when you go to do that, there's another like rolled fabric technique that you do to like roll the fabric under. So it would be like taking this, I'll show you just one moment, please. So it'd be like, let's say it's like taking this, and what you do is you roll that back just a little bit before you go to attach it onto here. And that way when it's attached down, it is much cleaner. It is much, much cleaner. And that way you don't really have to worry about it, and nobody will ever really know. It's just that simple. Well, for me. And other seasoned sewers. And this is also a very old school technique of doing this. I like to do things old school. I'm not always into like new tech ways of doing stuff. I love old school. I really do. To me, the old school ways of sewing, to me, is the better ways because they were very durable. Unlike a lot of things today where clothing may not be all that durable, they use a thinner, cheaper material. And that might not always be good because your person purchasing in retail won't really have the opportunity to experience the old school way of how clothing was constructed and put together more durable. If that makes any kind of sense to you, I think it makes sense. So put this together. And now we can put this over here at the machine. Make sure that your threads do go back here. Now we will bring you back over here to the machine. And this is how we sew it to it. This is how we sew it to it. Am I really worried about the bottom of this? No, not really. Because like I said, you know, the bottom of the bodice is going to be sewn onto the skirt. And I'm not really worried about that. Oh, here we go with this again. My machine has been a brat this morning. It's been like kicking the thread off. And when it does that, check and see why. It could be that it wasn't totally threaded correctly because sometimes it won't catch right and it'll take it out of your machine. And when you do that, like I said in the other video, make sure the eye of your needle lines up with this white part right here at the back. Let me show that. Right here at the back is this little white portion. Excuse me. Oh, there, now you can see it. Right here. And then when you go to thread that, make sure you do have your light on when you do that. And my friend got a And then I can do this without my glasses. I did, however, find my glasses. Yeah, here. My head's going to be in the way momentarily. Maybe. So I noticed it like caught the scar that's on the back of my shoulder. The camera did yesterday. Sometimes I don't feel all that well from my thyroid medicine. Doesn't help me feel too good, and that's not going to stop me being me and doing what I do. Okay, now that we've got that threaded, take it back to your start point. Hold it down. Now, as you can see right here, I'm actually tugging to keep it flat. And you want to do that. Remember, when you begin your stitch, reverse, go forward. Going forward is the best thing you can do. Also, make sure your pins are not sticking out of their little container. That'll fight your hand. Now, the other reason for having that straight stitch line like that, other than tacking things together, is it helps to guide you. Now, like a lot of things that I do, gingham, plaid, and stripe, that also helps you have a guideline when you're sewing. Make sure that your pins never go under that needle. I know a lot of people will do that, and you have so much of a chance of breaking that sewing needle on that pin. Also, something I was going to do last year that I might get to do this year is fix my vintage sewing machine. It's a vintage anniversary edition of a Singer sewing machine. One of the first electric trundles, or trundles, I should say. There we go. Almost done with this, and then when I'm done with this part, we will decide on the bodice after I turn it right side out. I'm going to pin just a portion back because we're done with that part. Time flies when you're having fun. Sewing can be fun. You just have to put your mind to the fact that you need to be eased when you're sewing. Realize that it's going to help with a lot of things. To me, it helps me with a lot of like tedious things in the day that I might have gone through while when I wake up. I may have had a bad headache when I woke up, and then you know, I'll be like, do I want to sew today? Yes or no? Okay, so now we have the bodice. And let me show you. We can try this bodice on, right, like we did yesterday. And I will show you. Now, here's also something else that I do to show you that what portion. I needed an extra cup of coffee today. That this is the back. Absolutely. Now, that's also the reason why I said we may add y'all, I got big chest. I cannot lie. I'm also sitting, but once this is, it fit earlier because I had that pin together and then I tried it on. It does fit. It's just I'm sitting, and sitting is not necessarily the best when you're doing this. Okay, so anyway, now we are going to decide. No, this is not too small for me. It's the right size. And you might wonder why I have like this seaming here going towards the back of the shoulder. That's how you want it for like the dress that I'm making. Now, sometimes when I'm sewing, I will alter a pattern. When you alter the pattern, it generally makes it your own. So now this is the portion like where we're going to roll this back and see, do we want it like that? Do we want it with some lace? How do we want this? Because that's very important when you're sewing, that you realize how you want that to be. I got maybe just zoom it out a little more of it. Now, do we want a cap sleeve on this? I'm not really sure on that yet. But the other thing that you can do is go ahead and hem that back. So when you roll it back maybe 1/8 of an inch. 1/8 of an inch. Switch this back to straight stitch, because that straight stitch is really going to help you out with a lot of things with this. So let's bring you back over here. And we're going to try to do this before I run out of battery. We are. Now me, I would recommend if you're starting out, when you're doing this, pin it down. Just pin it. Trust me on that. Pin it. Just pin it. Pin it. Take it on the machine and spin it. Okay. You back up here. And if I run out of battery, I'll just go ahead and finish that up. Now, if you notice, these go in two different directions. So now when you go to do this, lay it down, okay? And make sure these are both facing in opposite directions. That's very, very important when doing this. Put your machine on. Now, there is a reason why I took the main piece off of this, because I do a lot of sleeve and a lot of shorts and pants and skirts and stuff where I need this constantly for the cuffed areas of those garments. So that's also very important when you're sewing and you have the piece that will actually come off. Now, there are some machines where that does not come off, and there is a different way to sew. Now, those are in some of my other videos, but I will also do another video showing you the how-to with that. And it's really simplified. And also check that, make sure that didn't come out again. I need to dust my machine. Now, if your fabric doesn't want to go at first, push it a little. Now remember, when you're doing this so that you don't sew your finger or smash it with this or smash it with that, that's happened to me in the past. Keep your hand like I have it. One hand here holding the fabric. Keep your other hand gently here. That way this hand is more of your guide of doing this, and you will not have to worry about the ouchness. Also, your index finger is a guide. Remember to take your fabric 1/8 of an inch. Okay. Pull it down 1/8 of an inch. And right here on this side of the sewing foot, make sure that that fabric passes right where you have your needle. Now up here is where you adjust your tension and where you adjust your needle. Your needle can go this way or it can go that way. Right now I'm keeping it there, and there is one more setting. Roll and sew. Oh, I'm not out of battery yet. I do have another battery charge. Now, right here in this area, this could get a little tricky. So go ahead, put your needle down, bring your foot up, tuck your fabric back, put your foot back, now put your foot in, and carefully, very, very carefully, try to catch it. You may or may not be able to. And this is why sometimes I will embellish the fabric to cover up a little bit of something that could be. Also remember when you're doing this with a very delicate fabric, such as what I'm working with, that we're almost done with this sleeve. Armhole. It's an armhole when you don't have the sleeve on, in case you want to know. Now, when it comes to this portion here, you have the choice of lay this back, roll it this way, because this part you want to make sure you have it rolled in the same direction this is going. So roll that forward, and now there is a absolute reason why I'm bringing this fabric this far in. Shut this off. Bringing the fabric this far in is because you do not want that to be a very wide sleeve. Some things are wide, and sometimes things are just not necessarily meant to be a wide shoulder. Will this affect this down here when I'm sewing? No. Like I said, I'm a seasoned sewer, so I can basically take this like this, adjust it back to the thinner roll, to the hemming. Right here, I can just say something. So like I said, if you're new to this, absolutely pin. You're going to need to. Now that we're back around where we started, reverse stitch, and you are done with the sleeve hole. Now I'll probably just go ahead and do the other one off camera when we come back to attaching, but today is just to show you how to pretty much sew on the side panel and roll hem for the sleeve hole. Now when I attach this to the skirting, and if I don't feel like it's good for me, what I usually do, let me turn this right side out. What I usually do is I pick somebody for that garment. That's just me. That's just how I am. And that's just something that I do. There are a lot of people out there that don't have garments that may be necessarily in their size. And also the reason that if it doesn't fit to my chest, I can readjust this. Say I could take the front, maybe add in a zipper, which I don't have the right color zipper right now, but I could always find one. But so far, like you have the raw over here for the armhole, and then you have the one that's hemmed. And like I said, when you go to iron this, it's really going to lay everything more flat, and that's very, very good. And I like how this is turning out so far. I hope you do too. But I think that this lace on here is stinking cute with this. I really do. And I like how the armhole turned out. It's good enough, and this is how I do my designing, is I make it so that your straps from your bra don't show here, or if you're a dude and you like to wear women's clothing, I'm not going to bust on you for that because I do so for those people. They're my friends. And now when you see when it goes to be on, that's actually going to stretch out this part right here so that you're not going to see any puckering and anything. Like I said, a garment such as this is a dry clean only garment. Dry clean only. Don't be putting this in the washer and putting it in the dryer because nope on a rope. Just no. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and finish up that other sleeve hole off camera so that when we do come back to this and we do go to attach the skirting, in which I will show you how to put the skirting together with the bodice here. I don't know what you think about this. I like this. I'm not necessarily a dress person. Sometimes you need a dressy dress for things and such and stuff. So anyway, guys, I want everybody to stay happy, stay healthy, stay positive, and as always, stay blessed. Yes, I did do that with my other hand because I got this over here. Excuse me, my breakfast. And I hope you stay tuned for the rest of this dress. And I will see you in the next one.